All right, right off the bat. I mean, you're the man. All right, and the one thing I want to know, like, when did you become like Johnny Cigar Guy? When did that actually happen? Is this something you actually do in your free time from time to time? Give me a
No,
little background there.
just on special occasions. First cigar I ever smoked was after the national championship game, and so I figured when I win a championship, whether it's our division championship or a Super Bowl or national championship, I think we should probably smoke some cigars now. I think we just made it a thing.
Okay, I like it. So you had one ready. Like, you got a brand you like the one you smoked a few weeks ago after you clinched the division. Is there like brand or style of cigar you like?
I don't really know any brands.
Yeah.
I just smoke whatever somebody gives me.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Smoke them if you got them. All right. Next thing I want to know. I mean, I'm always impressed by this. From the minute I got to know you a little bit watching you on TV, the aura of Joe Cool. All right. Like, what is it about you that's made us all a believer in a franchise that, hey, let's be honest, not a lot of people have believed in, throughout time.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just myself. I try to give the media as much of my personality as I can. I'm also a private person and don't want to give away too much, but um, I try to be honest with everybody, and I think the media usually appreciates that.
Yeah, I definitely do. We all definitely do. There's no doubt about that. Like, was it always this way? Were you always cool that way? Was it something you had to like learn growing up? Was your dad, did your dad instill this in you, or just kind of a natural gift of that you have?
I don't know. I never really thought about
Yeah.
being cool or anything like that. I'm just myself. I don't know.
Well, that's why you're cool, because cool people don't try to be cool. They just are cool. And that's why you're Joe Cool, in my opinion. All right. So you talk about the honesty. Like, what is it that gives you the security to kind of speak your mind there? Like, the thing I always jump out, like, hey, the comments about Wink Martindale a little bit. You were the first quarterback to come out for Black Lives Matter, which I really respect. It's refreshing, but what is it about you that kind of brings that to the table?
I think I'm pretty good at not caring what people think about me. I care about what my teammates and my coaches and the fans think about me, but as far as people attacking me on Twitter or anything like that, I don't really care about that. I don't know those people. I care
Right.
about what my friends, family, teammates, coaches think about me, but other than that, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, yeah. So you're gonna be you. You're respectful to everybody, and you're, like you said, you're not afraid to give an honest answer, even if it might wrinkle some feathers or rub some people the wrong way in Baltimore. That's what's kind of cool about you, man. Like, you know, what I want to ask you a little bit about this year is just like the tipping point. I know you probably thought, hey, things are all going in the right direction. But was there a game or a moment this year where you went like, wait, forget right direction. We're like a legit AFC contender.
I think after we started the season decent, we were 3-2. We went into Baltimore and beat them pretty good, and I think then we knew that we could be really good, and we had really good players in the locker room. We had great coaches. We knew all that, but then we went out and did it in Baltimore, and I think right then we kind of knew what we could do.
Right.
That was a big win for us.
Yeah, right. You go into Baltimore, you made some big plays and kind of put them away in their home stadium. All right, so that was the moment. I get that totally. Now, like, as a full organization, you, Joe Burrow, you're still a young guy. You got a lot of young guys. 31-year playoff gap between wins. Do you guys really care? Like, do the players in the locker room care about that?
No, honestly haven't even talked about it all week.
Yeah.
It's not something that we're a really young team. We're just here having fun playing football with a bunch of friends in the locker room. We're not worried about not winning the playoff game. We're gonna go out there and execute. What happens, happens. But we're proud of what we've done and who we are, and we're gonna go out there and give it our best shot.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, like, I want to get a little nerdy with you and a little bit like football-y here. Like, get in the weeds a little bit. And I heard you make some comments in the offseason a few times about like you wanted to improve your arm strength. When did that light bulb go off that you needed, to do something about that? Because it certainly shows on the film this year compared to last year with a lot more power and explosive throws.
It's just something that I've always had to work on That's always been the knock on me from back in my high school days. Like I didn't have that big arm, but I've been able to improve that slowly every single year, and I'm going to continue to do that. And, I work on a little bit of everything in the off season, and I think my rehab process probably helped me a lot. I really focused on strengthening my hips and my glutes and my core, and that's where all the velocity comes from when you throw. So, the rehab process through my knee, I kind of did that a little naturally.
Yeah, well, yeah, legs and ass. I'm a believer in that. That'll always get you stronger for sure. Like anything mechanically, that you could share with us that you think about a little bit more, to put a little more mustard on the football? Was there anything there that you follow through, positioning of the body that you also helps you in that area?
Yeah, I was always kind of 70-30 back foot to front foot. And then I kind of made it a little more 50-50 this year, try to get my front foot on the ground a little faster so I could start that kind of whipping motion with your hips a little faster.
Right.
That's, I was able to increase my velocity of my core about 25% from last year by doing all the rehab and then changing the way I, balanced myself in my throwing motions. And so I think that helped a lot.
So balance and like creating those opposites between your upper and lower half to create that torque to throw the football. That's where you feel like you really made the biggest improvement.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. That's cool. That's a good one to know, certainly. And it shows, man. I mean, you're throwing lasers all over the field. All right. Next thing I want to know about your movement. I always say, like, when I got to talk about you on radio, I go, he's one of the most slippery SOBs I've ever seen in the pocket doing that. That always natural, or do you do stuff in the off season to work on that, and even during the season? How do you go about being so good in that area of your game?
That's kind of always something I've been pretty good at. I just kind of have a good feel of where people are in the pocket while I'm keeping my eyes down the field. And that was kind of frustrating for me at the beginning of the year because I was trying to figure out how to do that again with my knee. And I just now started to get back to being able to make free runners miss in the pocket. The last 5 or 6 weeks, that was frustrating for me at the beginning of the year because I've always, my mindset when people blitzed was, try to get it picked up with the O-line, obviously within the protection. But if there's a free runner and I don't have a hot answer, he still has to tackle me. And that's always kind of been my mindset. And I kind of had to change that early in the year because I couldn't quite make that guy miss. And I'm finally starting to do that again. And so that's exciting for me.
Yeah. All right. And, yeah. Like what I was going to go there anyways. And now you brought me there with your knee injury a little bit. What was that moment where you finally went, okay, like, wait, I'm actually not thinking about it. I'm just playing football, or I'm not worried anymore. I feel like it's close to 100%. Did you have that light bulb pop at any point?
No, I don't think there was a moment where it happened. I think the first time I made somebody miss in the pocket for the season was Pittsburgh in the first game. And, my knee kind of hurt a little bit after. I was like, it's not quite ready yet, but, I'm still making plays, yada, yada, yada. But, the last, like I said, 5 or 6 weeks after the bye, I finally started to feel like myself again.
Yeah, slow progress there to finally feel like yourself. Do you is it a total feel thing when you're scrambling and moving in the pocket? Like, do your eyes come down in a moment and you actually look and then get back up? Or do you really try to keep them up and have like the peripheral be in charge of like what's around you in the pocket?
I think it depends on the situation of the play. If I know somebody's about to come open and I know exactly what defense I'm seeing, I'm going to keep my eyes downfield, try to just move in the pocket slightly to buy a little more time just to wait for him to come open. And then if it's a play that I know is going to be crap against the coverage that we're seeing, I'm then kind of able to, bring my eyes down and try to make a little more people miss, to try to get my guys into scramble drill mode, and so they can try to find a space out there in coverage and get open. But I think it just depends on the situation.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to get into your brains a little bit here. I know you got the full aspect. I call you the natural all the time. That's who you are. You're just natural. They put you on earth to play quarterback. I know my dumb dad tried to say you were Joe Montana earlier in the year, and you tried to say pump your brakes. So I'll tell my dad, like, hey, Dad, pump the brakes, all right? But I am, and tell me if I'm wrong here with this one. I want to go back to the Chiefs game where, of course, you just went off and had a huge day. The end of the first half, you throw a little Y out, a tight end out route to Uzoma. and they play cover 2, and you throw the ball, and he almost gets crushed on the right side. Third quarter comes around. You run the same exact play, the second or third play of the third quarter. They play the same defense. They collapse on the tight end again. You hit Ja'Marr Chase in the hole of the cover 2 hole there for a long touchdown. Did that happen organically, or does that something that, hey, the Microsoft tablet came into play there, and I noticed that on that drive before?
Yeah, I'd say the tablet came in handy there.
Yeah.
Don't want to give away too much. We could see them in a couple weeks, but yeah, that was our coaches do a great job of seeing that kind of stuff and getting us to the right play and alerting me to certain things like that, so I can go out and make a big play like we hit Ja'Marr on.
Yeah, so you went into halftime and you guys talked about it a little. Like, I know we're not going to give anything away, but yeah, that was you knew that play was going to be called soon too? Like, was that something like you guys went like, hey, let's call it again. We're going to get him on this?
Yeah, I definitely wanted that play again.
Yeah.
I expected that one to come up.
Man, that's how you're my man. Look at you being honest and letting us do that. You are the man. All right, now I got to ask you like 2 more things. First off, like your other freak friend, okay, wearing number 1. Ja'Marr Chase. I feel like we don't know the dude. All we know is he's a baller, but like I don't know much about his personality. Please, like tell me about him.
He's a fun guy to be around. All of our receivers are a lot of fun to be around. You know, I'm an intense guy, and they make sure to keep me loose and cracking jokes all the time. So it's a great dynamic between us with TTB and Ja'Marr. All those guys, they're fun to be around.
Yeah, who's the clown of that group? Who's the guy that keeps you the loose out of Ja'Marr and Boyd?
Tyler is definitely the jokester.
Right.
Probably cracks more jokes than anybody. He's not exactly a super intense guy at practice, but he locks in when he needs to. But they're all fun. They're all fun.
Yeah, I know. All right, last thing about Chase too, just like physically, just what is it that separates him? Is it simple? Just his explosive, his speed makes him a different animal than a lot of receivers in football?
I think, obviously he's really fast. There's only a couple guys like him in the league as far as speed wise, but I think what really makes him special is his ability to break tackles. We can throw him a little hitch and he's going to break 2 or 3 tackles and get us 12 yards instead of a catch and tackle at 4 yards. And that, really makes my job easy, because if they're going to play off on him because they don't want to get beat over top, I can just throw him a little hitch and he's going to go get us 12 to 14 yards. And then we're going to just keep moving the ball down the field. So, guys like that are tough to come by.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, that's a quarterback's best friend right there. Throw it short and let him get yards for me. His legs, they're amazing. I mean, he's built like a running back in the lower half. That always jumps out to me. Last one. This is it right here. Number 9, Bengals quarterback, playoff game. Number 9, old Saints quarterback, Drew Brees announcing the game. All right, tell me about like the relationship with Drew, and tell everybody out there why you wear number 9.
So Drew is my favorite quarterback growing up. I was actually a Saints fan in Ohio because of him. I wear number 9 because I was number 10 at Ohio State and in high school, and then they didn't have 10 at LSU. So I figured, why not just go one number less and go to 9? But I've been able to get to know Drew a little bit since my time at LSU. The first time I met him was when we were practicing for the national championship in the Saints practice facility, and he came and spent some time with me, and I really appreciated that. And we text back and forth every now and then, but he's been great. And it's look, I'm not starstruck usually, but the first time I met Drew, I was a little starstruck. Kind of wanted to make sure that he knew I knew football, so I was talking about our game plan and all that.
Right.
It's been great to get to know him.
All right, that's good. So Joe Cool does get nervous every now and then. It just takes another superstar quarterback to do that. All right, now we know. Hey, like seriously, dude, though, big fan of yours. The way you handle yourself on and off the field, like you are the man. Good luck in your first wild card game against the Raiders, and thanks for taking a little time with me today, man.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate that.
All right, Joe. Be good.
Yeah, have a good one.
You too, buddy.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.